Okay, hi guys, welcome back to the Audio Levels channel and welcome back to another comparison. This time we're not doing a review, we're doing a comparison. These are the ones that I love to do because I think that you, the subscribers, get the most value out of it. These videos are a direct response to subscriber questions. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, leave your comments down below, and you can either comment whatever you want, but two of the main things that we get out of this sort of process is that subscribers can ask for direct comparisons for any of these earphones or more. I have 120 odd IEMs at my disposal. And if you've seen me use something before, I can make a video like this, which is going to be a direct head-to-head comparison, and I think that is where you get the best value. I can always say that this has excellent soundstage and fantastic treble, but if I'm not telling you in comparison or telling you how it works directly compared to that, which one of these has the better bass, which one of these has more bass, which one of these has better mid-range, it's easier for people to understand if they're directly putting something head to head. It's a very arbitrary statement to just say this has fantastic treble. In comparison to what? It has wonderful soundstage. In comparison to what? What's bigger, rank them? So that's definitely one of the benefits for being a subscriber here. The other reason to subscribe is, of course, that you can ask your questions down below. Subscribers can ask, I have $150 to spend on an in-ear headphone. I'm looking for good isolation, soundstage, and I listen to this type of music on this sort of device. And I'll go ahead and I'll give you a recommendation based off of that. Now, let's get right into this one because these videos, these comparisons are now, I'm setting a goal of being around 10 minutes, hopefully under 10 minutes. I'm not going to hold myself to that, but let's hope. I don't want to ramble on. This is one that has been asked for time and time and time again. Let's go straight into it. Accessories, pretty much a dead even. Both come with a case, both come with adapters to change it between balance connectors, normal connectors. Both come with a tie clip, both come with the faux leather carry case, both come packaged fairly nicely. There's not much difference in that at all. The main difference is going to be in the cable, and let me put, the Xenns are on the left, and the Thieaudio is on the right. So let's bring in the Thieaudio cable. Thieaudio cable is streaks ahead. Thieaudio cable is one of the best included cables that I've seen. Really like it. The Xenns Up cable is a good cable, and you've probably seen that rat's nest itself, but it's just the way that I accidentally wrapped it. If you give me a second. Yeah, the cable on this one is just a little bit cheaper feeling, but it's by no means a bad cable. Both of these cables are what I would expect on earphones at this sort of price point. It's just that these ones in particular, you can see it behaves itself perfectly. The Thieaudio cable is just a beautiful cable, really well made, looks stunning and performs well. This performs very well as well, but I'll give the edge to the cable if that's counts to you, and it counts to me a lot. Now, in terms of the actual body construction, again, nothing in it. I'm not surprised if these come out the same factory. This is, I'm going to do this. Which one's which? It's the same thing. The faceplate is definitely the discerning factor on it. Out of the two of them, I personally prefer the Thieaudio one just because I like the use of the shell in there. I think some people like the Canera and the dark sort of broody looking style of it, and to be honest, that kind of matches their sound signature, which we'll get into in a second. On the back, they still have the same text to discern the model number, and you have the same exact same metal nozzles. There is nothing in between this. These are essentially the same bodies. You can see the same red ring filter at the top. These have probably been made in the same factory, depending who's OEMing them. Now, the one of the first differences that you're going to notice is the price point. These, I believe, are in the region of $170 more than these. Now, that puts the Mangrid Xenns Up head-to-head with the Monarch, the Thieaudio Monarch. So you're probably wondering why I don't have the Monarch here. Well, the Monarch slaughter them, to be honest, in my opinion. The Xenns Up are not competitors for the Monarch. And I'll explain to you why I think that is. The tuning for the Xenns Up is more bass focused to me. It's a darker sound in the mid-range, and I don't think it has the same detail retrieval that the Monarch has. The Monarch presents its detail fantastically well in the mid-range because it's a little bit more pushed forward and a little bit more energetic sounding overall. But I think some people are missing something on the Monarch mid-bass is incredibly detailed, and this is something that people don't understand what effect that has. The mid bass is, a lot of people think mid bass or bass in general is just to be thump, 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 but there's tons of texture, there's tons of detail, and there's tons of experience to be had from the mid bass presentation, especially if you listen to classical jazz, that sort of thing. Like if you listen to somebody playing the double bass on live jazz tracks, for example, you hear all sorts of beautiful deteriorations of notes. It's a fantastic experience that really gives you that, whoa, I'm getting a lot of detail, like a lot of detail, more than you would do if you weren't having something that didn't express that mid-bass detail. Mid-bass detail is sometimes forgotten because I think earphone manufacturers produce these hybrids with, okay, the dynamic driver is going to handle the low end, the balanced armatures are going to handle the mids, and the ESTs are going to handle the highs. That's essentially the theory behind the EST. But what if you have a slight overlap from a balanced armature handling in cooperation with the dynamic driver, that mid-bass region, that crossover region? You get way more detail in there while you're still not sacrificing anything in terms of weight and quantity of note. So companies that can balance that and produce that really, really have an edge, and I think that's where Thieaudio come in with their tuners. Thieaudio producing the Oracle, the Excalibur, the Clairvoyance, the Legacy 3, the Legacy 2 with the dynamic beryllium driver with the balanced armature, $100. They're thinking about what way they want to create the sound, and they're molding it as such. And I think that's what's been done in the Monarch, that a lot of people think it's the technologies in it and the drivers in it. I don't think it necessarily is. I think it's that they've done something very clever there with their overlaps and their crossovers. This, by all means, is 2 drivers less. So I believe that they're both 2. Let me just bring this up for to make sure that I'm getting this right. The other one I want to talk about is the Shure EJ07M, which I also think is above these, but probably on a level with these. Very different earphone, very different approach with the metal body and everything. Overall, I do like the EJ07M as an overall package, other than the cable. The EJ07M is, I believe it's a 7 hybrid driver IEM or Tribrid. The Oracle is 2 balanced armatures and 2 electrostatics again. And that's a side grade from the sound that I'll discuss in a separate video. The Monarchs are 6 balanced armatures in the middle. So for the same sort of price, you're getting more balanced armatures in the Monarch. And I wouldn't be surprised if those balanced armatures in the Monarch have been used to sort of integrate into the low end of things, because I really, really notice a stark difference, which gives me the overall feel of, whoa, there's a lot of detail retrieval in this. In terms of these going head to head, now if you take the price out of it, these are obviously better value to me, but these are my favorites in the sort of $500-ish range of these ESTs. I put them above the EST112 by Duna. I put them above the Oracle just slightly, but I think when I'm saying this, and I want to be clear as I'm speaking right now, I want you to understand and not jump to conclusions. These are side grades depending on the way you listen to music. This is not exponentially better than this. Some people will enjoy this better than this. When I'm talking here, I'm not talking technicalities, I'm talking in terms of what I feel is the better for my needs. I listen to very versatile music. Like I listen from jazz, classical, hip hop, rock, J-pop, little bits of everything. Like I listen to Colombian Carroncho music. I listen to Big Israel is Kamakawawi. I don't know how to even say his name. I listen to a random Tahitian band called Manahun. I have various tastes, so this one works better for me. I would say somebody that's predominantly bass heavy would be in the right mind to go and look for this one. This one has a greater sub bass response and a greater mid bass response for that. For that fact, I've gone over 10 minutes. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep it under 15. This one has greater quantity and greater depth in mid and sub-bass response regions. It hits very, very hard when it needs to. This one's more punchy, tight and controlled, but it can still extend. This is punchier than the Oracle, for example, the Excalibur. The Excalibur is a more overly energetic earphone. It has more sparkle in the treble, and also the mid-range is pushed forward, which I prefer, especially when I'm listening to female vocals. I think this has a little bit more sparkle and a little bit more shine, whereas this one's a little bit darker. Again, this is going to be good for EDM, that sort of stuff. EDM rap is probably going to perform really, really well with this. And in my tests, I definitely saw that happen. But I would also point out that this one, I didn't feel like it had a problem getting driven by any sort of source. I was fine out the little dongles that I use with my iPhone. This one, I felt like it really needed that extra punch of not an expensive Dapper DAC, an E1DA or something like that is going to be more than sufficient just to give it the little bit extra juice that it deserves to perform to its full potential. I think that they're both fantastic. If you like ESTs, you can't really go wrong with either. If you like more bass heavy music, I would go with this. If you like more sort of high energy, and this has, trust me, this has good bass, good bass, much more so than the Oracle. The only thing that I'm hesitant to say is that this is the BEShead's EST, or the BEShead's Tribrid earphone. I'll do a separate video talking about this. This is the Campfire Audio Polaris. I mentioned in the Xenns Up, I mentioned this, and there's a few other earphones in here as well that are, these are bass cannons. Now, I think most people are not suited to owning just one set of earphones and just having the Polaris V2. These are not the Polaris V2. These are the Mammoth. The Mammoth are thunderous bass-head earphones, like they're like Vega lights. I am one of these people that says that you should have one earphone for critical listening, one earphone for general listening, and then a set of bass cannons. I'm going to make videos about that in the future, about what's my perfect audio setup for $500, and it's not going to be I'm using this plus this headphone. It's going to be, here's like 3 or 4 headphones that I switch in between depending on what sort of genres I'm listening to. Now, that's not perfect for everybody. Some people are bass boys and real bass heads, and I think this is more refined. If you're going to be a real bass head, look at something like this or some of the other recommendations I give in the bass head video that I'm going to do. This one is somebody that likes that EST width of presentation, but wants things to be on the bass head spectrum of presentation. Overall, I would choose the Excalibur over these. These are more expensive. I don't think they're bad. I think if this tuning is going to suit you better, then don't think about the price, pick them up, because they'll probably be better suited to the way you listen. If you listen like me, I'm quite happy with the Excalibur, and I just think that we're in a really good place just now with all these Tribrids coming out. Tribrids, if you're asking for a recommendation around about $500 right now, it's pretty much just Tribrids, apart from some oddities like these, which are weird, not made great, but sound fantastic. So that's it for this comparison. I'm sorry it went over 10 minutes. I'm going to do this one versus the Oracle, and then I'm going to do this one versus the Polaris. So yeah, just skip these comparisons if you don't want to see them, you just want to see the reviews. But if you liked the video, please go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.